Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. All right. Well, welcome to There's More Where That Came
Oh,
From.
wait, you did hit
Yeah,
record
yeah.
again.
You,
Sorry.
thank you though. Thank you.
You were
Because
like, "I'm gonna forget."
oh my God, that'd literally be the worst. I mean, I wouldn't be mad having another conversation with you, but it would lose
We
its
could do it
luster
again. We
real
could do
quick. Okay. I am so excited to have you on. I mean, every guest I've had on, I'm like, oh my God, like my clients, like people who follow me, they need to hear this. But
Yeah.
you are someone who, the moment that I found you on Instagram, I was just I was captivated by your content. It just looked pretty. And whenever you see like an account that like is aesthetically pleasing, I'm like, I don't care what they're selling. I want to know more about this. And so I started going down the rabbit hole and I was so intrigued by you that you're just someone I enjoy following. So I would love for you to like introduce yourself, but tell everyone that's listening to the podcast about where you're from, what you do, and then we're just gonna like dive into it from there.
Yes. So my name is Emily Sullivan. I am actually born and raised in Old Town Scottsdale, believe it or not. No,
You're an OG. I
I'm an
feel like I feel like I'm seeing a unicorn
I know.
in
It's so funny. I didn't understand that that was a big deal to people until the recent years when I moved back. And so many people are, no, but where are you really from? I'm like, I'm really from this. I literally grew up right by Fashion Square Mall. So
oh
yeah.
my God.
So that's like my hood, I guess, growing up. And then, which is completely not the hood at all, but it was and my parents just sold their house actually this last year.
Oh,
So we did, yeah, they're in Mesa now, but yeah, so I grew up there and then I moved to school in Irvine, California,
okay.
for college. And I lived in Spain for a little while. I went to college there as well, the University of Barcelona. And then I spent, I mean, it's all over the place. How much detail do you want? But,
I
and
mean,
yeah.
you take us through it. I love hearing where
Yeah.
people have lived.
Yes. And I know you lived in LA, right?
Mhm. Yep,
So I
yep.
would go down to LA from north of Santa Barbara, which was San Luis Obispo, for 10 years. So I started my business there. I still have a business there, and I'm number one for weight loss there because I started in personal training and weight loss coaching for women, specifically. And I still have trainers there and people there that help out if they want in person. But most of my clients are all over the world. I have clients in Ireland and Spain and in LA or down the street in Gilbert, Scottsdale. So it's just everywhere. So it's really exciting. But I did that transition early on. So a number of years ago, I started my business. And then some of the people, when we would do calls like this, I was doing coaching for weight loss specifically, they wouldn't want to meet in person. So we would take it online. And that was like 5 years before Zoom, excuse me, before Zoom, before the Corona.
Right, which was kind of the up and coming
Yeah,
of Zoom. I mean,
I
I
know.
I'm not convinced they weren't a part of it. Like, you know?
Hey, we could go down a whole rabbit hole.
Right.
There's so many. But yeah, so that story. And then I ended up coming back. So between LA, I went to San Diego, everywhere. I was all over California, San Francisco, I would work as well. Moved back to Arizona right before COVID and
My
thinking,
gosh.
I'm not gonna stay here that long. Like I'll just come back. It was around Christmas time. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna stay. And then I've been here now, I think 4 years, if not more, 4 years. I don't know when did
Right, yeah, about yeah. So obviously COVID probably played a really big role in like you having to stay put for a while. But what has made you ultimately decide like this is where home is right now?
well, my family, you get to a point, and I think
Yeah.
this is a big part of my clientele and who I help is, you chase the dream, right? You do, especially if you're an entrepreneur, it's not just taking the job, it's all in, you're all in. And sometimes you have to be 1 foot in and still doing the side hustle and longer than you want or whatever it is. So you're always putting everything into your business, and you kind of, and I know you're a little bit of your story too with your family, but um it was just family. It was like, okay, at what point am I going to get to go to lunch with my parents or get to just pop over? And I felt like that was a big draw. Also, my grandfather was passing, and so many things were just like pointing me to go, let's just reset here.
Mhm.
And I would say the second piece of that too, a big part that's like more drama than people probably need, but I was in a very long-term relationship. We ended up getting engaged. I called off the
Oh,
wedding, and I kind of like then since sort of re started over in that town. And after a while, I was like kind of exploring things outside myself and going, I want to move here. I'm going to move here. And I did. I would like sublease my place and move to San Diego for a few months. And I thought at some point, I'm not going to have a chance to go back if I don't now, because I'm the type that'll just move again to Spain. Or
uh-huh.
so that part too, I think ending a big relationship, ending another one after that, really going, I think I'm going to come back and just like ground myself a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you went to college, did you go for like sports medicine or personal training, or how did you like talk to me about? I'm
Yeah.
so fascinated about people's career paths.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if it's a female thing or like our generation or age group thing, but I feel like there's so much pressure on being defined by what you
Yes.
do and how you do it, which is a big struggle for people in the online world the last like 6 years because we're just
Yeah.
making it up as we go. But I always love hearing people's journeys of how they got there because it's so cool. So go into yours.
Yeah, the journey, I would say, well, so for college, to answer your question, I didn't. I started I think for like a month, I declared a business major. And the first course I took was a finance class. And I had a belief, I'll say it this way, knowing what I know now, that I wasn't good at math from a young age. My sister was good at math. I was better at reading, writing, all of that. And clearly the funnier one. But we're always comparing, right? So even in school, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm just not good at this. So I immediately went, this is just so much. I'm not going to enjoy this. And I moved to communication, something I was interested in. So broadcast media. And then I did a minor in Spanish. It's just how I ended up at the University of Barcelona. To get there, really, I was always interested in health and fitness, always. So I would take my roommate, who was a exercise sports science major, and would take her. I'd say, hey, can I get a copy of your slides from your from your classes? Because like I wanted to understand and I wanted to read it, and I would read it in free time for fun. So if that was an indication, I probably should have gone more that
Mhm.
route. But for me, I ended up graduating with a bachelor's, working for a company called Mindbody,
Yeah.
which knows, yes.
Yeah.
And I got there because I was working actually at a gym. I was like working at a gym where they all worked out, and they came across and recruited me. And I worked there for a number of years and worked my way up there. And I listened to business owners all day, and I was consulting and listening to them. And I thought, they aren't smarter than me. I could do this. Like, I really want to do this. So in that time, I went back to school and became a holistic health coach over a period of time. And it was a long program over in New York, but I did that remotely. And then I became a personal trainer as well. So NASM certified personal trainer. And I started kind of doing that, and left that job and started my business then. And I did, this is the story people want me to tell, is I started my business and I never looked back. And like, the answer is, I was like, no, I started my business and I was like, oh, I can't quite make enough. I'm going to have to figure this out. I'm going to have to go have a side hustle. So I took another job while doing that. So for a number of years, I do have people look at me now, and I'm sure a year from now, and how it's just exponentially will jump and go, well, you just have so much, you have so much content, you've done it. I'm like, yeah, I did that 10 years ago. I spent 12 years doing that. Like,
Right.
not an overnight success by any means. And I think it's so important to talk about that, because the journey was, I followed my gut. I said, I'm interested in this and it looks hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. I leveraged the times I did have income coming in, and I actually felt, um, without say, I'm trying to say this like humbly, I would watch people at the corporate job go, well, I'm not, they're on Pinterest, they're watching social media, they're doing all these things. And so instead of me wasting my time doing that, I would say, okay, I'll get this job in this amount of time, and then I'm going to focus my energy over here on studying or doing something else. So I worked really, really hard to get there, and it wasn't easy. And there were so many times where the balance that I have now, where if a major life event, and I'm sure you can like relate with this and whatnot, but let's say, for example, calling off the wedding, your whole life is just like, oh my gosh, what happened? I thought I was going to be with this person. I knew that
Right.
it was hard and it wasn't right. And we call it, but that took me out. So there was seasons where I was like, I can't listen to one more person talk about,
Right.
whatever about themselves. I was just so in so much pain that I had to go just take a job.
Right, right. Oh, I think on that note, I feel like there was a while there where not that the 9 to 5 was like looked down upon or anything like that, but it did was like, oh, if you owned your own business and you went back to a job or you had another job, it was either a sign that your business was failing or things were unsteady. And being in business, I've been like freelancing. I
Mhm.
started in 2016 and kind of went that direction.
Um,
The farther I get along, the more I realize I sometimes envy those people, like, to be able to, like, get ready and go somewhere and have,
yeah.
another team of people that you can, like, work off of and then clock out. Like,
Talk
what is that? Not saying I don't love the business and life that I've
Sure.
created, but, like, it's not a like,
It's not for the
sometimes.
lighthearted.
Right, exactly, and, like, sometimes, like, that might fit your personality better, I get
Yeah.
it, and I never did, and that's like a whoever said "I told you so" moment, like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
one of those
Well,
people.
totally. I can completely relate. And at the same time, don't you in you at the same time have that, I know I'm supposed to do this. I know that
Yeah.
I know that I could go back and it's easier, but I know this is more rewarding. I know I'm supposed to
Mhm.
be here and I don't need to know the path of exactly how it's going to shake out, but I do know it's right. And so it's like the people, so take your parents, for example. I've had a very entrepreneurial family, a lot of the women in my family too, but specifically with your parents, they are such a big role playing in it that if one of them is like, well, be safe, don't go back and get the health insurance, go back and do it. You want to please them and you are taking on all their limiting beliefs and their fears.
Mm,
So it can be
so
very
true.
challenging and they just want the best for you. But people around you, because you'll look at it now and people will go, wow, you've made that much, or oh, you've done this, or how did you make an app in a year? How did you? And it's like you just do it and you have to block so much out to do it.
Mhm.
And the part that you don't want to block out and that I've learned is your own intuition, is your own voice, is your own, what you're speaking to yourself. Listen to that voice because that's the one you're going to be happy with at the end of the day. The only person you
Yeah.
have to be in the longest relationship with of your whole life is yourself. If you're not listening to yourself and trusting that, that is what gets most of us into trouble because we take a longer path than we need to get where we're supposed to go. We take on the limiting beliefs, we take on the baggage from other people, and by that I mean negative thoughts or fears or things that legitimately have happened to them and say, well, then that means that's going to happen to me. And that's so conditional. And
Mhm.
that's not true at all. It's like you could very well. I had a client just this week that said, well, I really want to transition, into careers. I work with a lot of very successful people from the external, right? They've got it together. They're looking good. They're making more money than you'd be like, well, what's the problem? They've got a great life and they're unfulfilled. They are lacking purpose. They are not feeling like in tune. Their relationships are usually kind of at this kind of point, this
Mhm.
tug of war point. And so, or they're like gaining weight, there's the physical side of it, having health problems. So it's what I'm getting at is the story was they said, well, I want to do what you do. I said, well, it's not going to happen overnight, right? You don't do it. I didn't just start this yesterday. I didn't just start during COVID when everyone started. It's like many, many years. And my success might have taken a lot longer to get there. That doesn't mean it has to be your story. That doesn't mean
Mhm.
you could post a video tomorrow, start showing up and go viral. And then people love you and you go, that could also be a possibility. So don't take my path and say it has to be hard. I don't
Mhm.
want to put my stuff on you, but that was my experiences. I needed that journey to get where I am. And
Right.
if I wouldn't have done that, I would never have been prepared for where I am now or what's coming. So it was almost like the lessons I needed to learn were learned so I can be here. And now I can kind of skyrocket and jump a little faster.
Right.
Had I done that earlier on, I don't know that I would have been able to be honest.
Have you always had, you spoke a little bit about like kind of honoring where you are or like
Yeah.
having that intuition. Have you always had that in your like decision making and like how your career paths have gone? Or is that something that you had to teach yourself and
Both.
practice? Okay.
Yeah, I believe we all have that. And that's kind of part of what I do with people
Hmm.
is we all have that inherently. As
Hmm.
a baby, when it comes to anything, think about a little kid that's like 3 years old. They know exactly what they want.
Hmm.
They know, no, I want to keep playing. No, I don't want to eat that food. Yes, I
Yeah.
want thing, or I just want love, or I want, or I don't feel well. I just want to lay down. I'm
Mhm.
tired. They know what they want. They don't always communicate it necessarily, but they know, and they will
Mhm.
tell you in one way, shape, or form. And I think as we grow, I know as we grow from the ages of like 0 to 7, like birth to 7, you are just a sponge. You're in your unconscious. So you don't
Mhm.
need people telling you necessarily what you inherently know. That's
Mhm.
95% of our behavior is the unconscious mind. So
Mhm.
it's like you're forming your belief systems, you're forming. So if, for example, you walk outside and you're like, oh, this dog, I want to pet this nice dog, and the dog barks in your face, and you go, that's that might become a fear of someone. You have
Mhm.
someone who's phobia of dogs, or they may adopt that because they made a decision that day that that type of dog, specifically black dogs or specifically big dogs or dogs in general, stay away from them. They're dangerous. And
Mhm.
therefore, they made a belief system at that point. In order to survive in this world, I need this.
Mhm.
I need
Mhm.
this belief to keep me safe. And then they carry it throughout their lives. So 17, 20 years later, a dog could still walk up and they'll go, oh, no, 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 no. I have a fear of dogs. So
Yeah.
no, inherently, and we are human. So we are adapting to what we need to do to survive with our basic needs. So getting love from your parents or caregivers, or
Mhm.
being accepted outside is okay. Well, I better adapt and look this way. When I get on, and you're when we overthink, we're thinking, oh, is this shirt too low cut to wear? Am I not going to be professional? No, I knew what I wanted to wear when I woke up. I it out. And
Right.
and so we're trying to like create this persona of sorts. So yes and no. I always do think I've been very I do have that a little bit more than the average person to an extent. I'm in touch with it, and I had to unlearn more than learn what it was that was telling me to not trust that. Does
Mhm.
that
Yeah, no, completely. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I don't want someone to hear that and go, oh, she just has it. No, we all have it. I fully know that and believe that. It's getting rid of the things that are blocking you being able to hear yourself and then trust yourself to go do that.
Any tips on trusting yourself? Like, or what, speak to that. I actually was talking with a girlfriend last night. And we were talking about that as like business owners, trusting yourself to make the decisions, or even to, we were writing down like some of our 2024 goals. And it's like trusting yourself that that thing that you want, like you can make happen, but like not backing down from it. Like, how can you, if you're someone who lacks trust in yourself and your decision making, where are some great places to start?
So there's two parts to that. One, how do you trust another person?
Hmm.
I'm curious. Like for you,
Oh, yeah.
how do you know to trust another
Oh,
person?
well, I probably not in great ways. One, if they're really funny, I'm like, well, we have the same sense of humor.
Yeah,
Like,
rapport,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
On the same page. Okay,
yeah,
got
yeah.
it.
So I would say rapport. Um, I mean, I will trust people really fast. Like if you give me a reason not to trust
Yeah,
you, that's kind of like where I'm at with that.
right.
But I think it comes with over time and that communication and conversations, like getting
Yep,
examples and like feedback of who you are and listening to you
yep,
talk. That will like help me build trust over time. But like I said, I feel
yeah,
like I trust people instantly and then
yeah,
I build it. And like
yep,
that's how I do
yeah.
it.
I think it's really common. I think I'm very similar. I'm the same way. You go with 90, well, excuse me, 87% of communication is energy first.
Mm.
So you could walk into a room. This happened the other day. I was kind of in like a tiff with my boyfriend, which we don't have often. We don't. But the minute we did in the room and they were like, so something's going on here, right? We didn't see anything. We were like, hey, how's it going? Like nothing gave it away but the energy. We've all
Right.
experienced that, right? Where
Yeah.
you're like, and we've resolved it and everything. We have the tools to do it. But that is so much of it. And so it's like just the energetic exchange for other people. And the same is true for yourself, is like, you are there 87% of the way. You're there, just knowing, reading yourself and your energy. And then there's the conversation, right, of words. Like that's only a small percentage of, like, the words are like 3%. Then there's like a few small percentage in there that's also tonality, like how
Mhm.
you speak to the self. You walk into a room and they're like, how are you doing? You're like, I'm fine. Right? I don't
Yeah.
cross my arms. It's like, I'm fine. Am I fine? No, I'm not fine. Right? It's
Right.
tonality plays into it. The same is true for talking to ourselves. So you instantaneously trust yourself as a child. We all did. Like, you know what you want, you know what you need. I'm hungry, I want to eat. And then we start not trusting ourselves because we start and this is my belief and the research I know, we start to not trust ourselves because of two reasons. One, you're influenced by what's around and you start second guessing it. So the
Mhm.
only reason you would be incorrect is essentially if you let me rephrase that. You could be incorrect. Don't touch the stove, it's hot. You can learn that on your own. And at the same time, you might need to go through that experience to do it. But if someone's telling you that, well, if you trust that person, you're inherently trusting your caregiver or these people. So all I'm getting at with that is, and you trust yourself instinctively, but other people, outside sources, can tend to shift that. So if you're
Mhm.
overthinking trusting yourself, right? So if that's saying, I should post this, but I don't know, like, is this going to be controversial? Everything's controversial nowadays. What if should I overthink? No, to trust that. That's what you wanted to say. Go post it. The other thing is action, following through. So like
Mhm.
when you said, give me an example, like your goal. Well, first, did I lose you on that piece, or
No,
does that?
no, that makes so much sense. I love
Okay.
that. Yeah.
It's just, we know it's just the external factors allow us to
Right.
pull back and not trust ourselves. And then
Right.
the second is your own relationship with yourself. You trust people inherently. You're in a relationship with yourself. There are within us parts of us that have conflict.
Mhm.
And those parts, again, are formed as coping mechanisms or ways to keep us safe. So if part of you wants to do one thing and thinks, I know I should do this, and the other part says no, usually they're formed because one is inherently you and what you know, other is there to keep you safe from,
Yeah.
right? So like, well, part of me wants to go do this podcast, right? And then there's a part of me that's like, no, but you're not ready. You were asking me some questions at the very beginning before we got on. And I said, I'm figuring that out for next year. I'm in the midst of doing the goals. I'm in the midst of where I'm directing and shifting things. And that's okay. Like
Mhm.
inherently, I don't have a problem coming on and having a conversation with you. And I don't have a problem having coffee with you. So why do I need everything to be perfect to show up? It will never be. But that
Right.
would be the parts of me tugging, going, agree to do the podcast or wait till you have it all figured out.
Right.
That.
Right. Yeah.
So those conversations are the same. So the first piece is just knowing we do trust ourselves and there's external factors. And the internal tug of war is because of external factors to keep us
Mhm.
safe as well. And lastly, just taking action. I've been changing my schedule. I used to, for years and years and years and years, get up at least 5 a.m. and go work out. I do
Mhm.
not think that is the only way to be successful. I don't think you have to go do that. I just know for many years it was okay. And then it took a couple years, 2 years or so, where I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I never woke up at that time, maybe once or twice, but I was like, unless I absolutely had to. And then I'd go, no, I needed a minute from that. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
I chose to start doing that again. And I thought to myself today, it's like day 3 of doing that just now in December, because I want to prep for January. And I'm going, I could just stay in bed, but I know that if I don't take action and follow through my word, I'm not going to trust my own word. I said at the beginning of the week, I'm going
Yeah.
to the full week, Monday through Friday, you're doing it. And then that's going to build it into next week and do it. If I broke my word to myself, that's the same way. If someone says, yeah, no problem, let's hang out. Yeah, I'll do your podcast. And then I don't show up at noon, I broke a little trust. And
Mhm.
so it's the same with yourself, is following through on your word. And
Right.
that's why your goal setting that I do with my clients, it's so important to remove what's not you first then set your goals. And what I mean by not you is all that stuff that's coming up. We
Mhm.
go through that breakthrough program I was telling you about, and you remove it. And you go,
Mhm.
I don't want these things. They're not even me. What do I value? What do I care about? Once you
Mhm.
have that, then you set your goals and you know that you'll inherently follow through because you're bought into them and
Right.
break your word with yourself. And then you trust yourself more. So
Yeah.
full and a lot, but simplifying it, you do trust yourself. And if you could take out all the things that aren't you, you would start taking action and then you trust yourself even more.
Okay, you touched on something that when this airs, I think there'll be people that have been working on this, or maybe just in the spirit of the new year, they will be, but goal setting or New Year's resolutions or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, organizing and setting new intentions for the new
Yeah.
year and acting on that. You kind of had mentioned that this is something that you go through with your own clients without obviously your clients pay you for this information, but can you give us any? Like, how do we goal set? Or, like, if there was
Yeah.
something that people could be like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with Emily. I want to do this exercise that
Yeah.
she does with her clients. What do we do?
Yes. I have no problem sharing. Even if I told you the whole thing, I could literally give my whole plan that took me years and years and years, and it still would be valuable for them to come do it with us or to go through it. I have no problem with that because there's going to still be the other 90% who do want to go and sign up and pay for it. So it's like,
Right.
no problem. We're good. So the question you asked was the best way to goal set. And what was the other part of that?
And like prepare or set those intentions for the new year.
Okay. Okay. So first and foremost, it's like 3 steps, like I said, and those are the 3 main programs that we do. The is release. Well, this is just steps for if you want permanent change. Let's talk about that
Yeah.
because people want don't I will guarantee you the people listening to this are trying to add value to their life. They have are taking time, whether it's folding laundry, walking, doing something, there's or just sitting and listening. They are taking time out of their life to add value, to learn, to grow. So
Mhm.
I can assume that those same people are people that don't want to have to keep falling into the same
Mhm.
rut, if you will. So
Mhm.
if you want permanent change, then first you release your what I call baggage and I think a lot of the jargon that's used in the more alternative therapy space is which I should state and I never stated I am certified for like hypnosis and mental emotional release, and so I transitioned from fitness to more mindset, and I do a lot of business and all kinds of coaching, and but it's balance, it's a balance, so
Mhm.
it's really about balance. But what I'm getting at here is, let me see if I can bring myself back. I'm like, well, do they know that they're like,
Yeah,
why
no.
alternative therapy? And I haven't even said that part of the how it transitioned.
You have like this whole magic bag of tricks of things that you're certified in and can do.
And it's so true. I call it a Mary Poppins bag. So my clients, I'm like, look, we got a Mary Poppins bag. If you're overeating a certain food, or you want to stop smoking or drinking, or losing your temper or things like that, or God, so many things. I've worked with MLB players or golfers or people and athletes to reset themselves after injury, or so many different things. We have the Mary Poppins bag, but the core thing that you asked was the goal setting, and this is what I originally started with. Remove your baggage, remove your limiting beliefs. Everyone can relate with that jargon of like,
Mhm.
I'll give the best example. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to start going to the gym at 5 a.m. Let's just use the one I just said. Or I'm going to start eating healthier.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm eating healthier. And then this is a very common one. And then people go, well, in order to do that, I'm going to start tracking my food. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Well, if you have a belief at your core that you aren't worthy of losing weight,
Mhm.
which is like very, very, very common. Like you
Mhm.
wouldn't say that outright. I value myself. I'm cool. Like I think it's good. But at your core, you really, truly believe I don't want to lose weight. I'm not worthy of losing weight. Some belief system around that. Your beliefs will always drive your thoughts. Your thoughts will always drive your emotions. Your emotions will always, almost always, I should say, drive your behavior. So if I have a belief of I am not worthy of losing weight, or I'm not good enough to lose weight, or I don't deserve to lose weight, or I'm whatever, same with business or be in that relationship, anything, that amount of money, you have
Mhm.
that kind of relationship, you have that belief. You will then go, okay, I'll set the alarm, I'll do it. And then unconsciously, you will sabotage it. So if you don't, if your captain of the ship is 5% of your brain, that's your the one that's calling all the shots. Your conscious brain is who set your goals likely
Mhm.
for your new year. Every person is going to sit down and go, well, I know I need to do this, I need to do this. My doctor told me. That's 5%. The rowers of your ship, the other 95%, and it's like 2 billion to 1 is really what it is, but the other 95%, the people that actually go, okay, let's get you there. If they are not bought in with the captain, if they don't like what the captain's saying, or they have a belief that if you lose weight, for example, and you do follow through on these things, you're going to then have to be vulnerable and start dating, right? Wait, I might have to show up more in my business, but I have a fear I might fail. Or if I do this thing, then that. If they are not on board in any way, shape, or form, or they believe they're unsafe losing weight, or they believe they're not worthy of losing weight, they will not get on board and go, cool, you want to go to this destination? Let's get you there and row you. So
Right.
unless you address your unconscious beliefs, that 95%,
Mhm.
it's very unlikely you're going to either A, get the goal, or B, stick with the goal. Like it's
Right.
almost guaranteed that you won't, because you don't have what you need on board to sustain it.
Right. Well, even just like that example of waking up at 5 a.m., it's like, I bet that little voice in your head when your alarm goes off, not that I've had experience in this, like hits the snooze or the off button.
Yeah.
And it's like that. I've always said, I made the example. I'm like, I want to be a morning person. Like, I
Yeah.
love that like 8 to
Yeah.
10 a.m., but only if I've been awake for a few hours. Like, there's nothing better than
Okay.
the sun rising. But when my alarm goes off in the morning,
Yeah.
I'm a different person. I'm like, who the fuck set the alarm for 4 a.m.? Like, what? Like, and just 8 hours ago, I was
Yeah.
like so bought in. But like when you were saying that, and I don't care
Yeah.
about using myself as an example
Yes.
here, but
Right.
as you got to saying that, you had said like, I'm not worthy of losing weight. It's like, who would say that out loud? Like, no one's going to say that out loud.
Oh,
But I love the examples that you started to give because I would have never thought that those were associated with not being worthy to lose weight. So can we
right.
talk about that? Because I
Yeah.
bet that that's actually something, I don't know if you work with a lot of primarily males or females, but sometimes are there any of those obvious things like I'm not worthy of losing weight? What have been some examples and
Mhm.
things that have played into that? Just so
So
myself, I'm asking for a friend.
yeah. Well, the first thing that you said, and I'll come back to that, but the first thing that you said that I want to highlight on is you had said, if I'm a different person, it's a different person. And the truth is, it is a different person. You actually, if I were working with you, I would really not brush over that. And I would say,
You're
okay,
like, what?
let me talk to that person. Like, what that Adrian, like, what does she look like? What does she sound like? And do you want to play the game? Do you
Yeah,
want
let's sure. This is great. I feel like I'm gonna like send me an invoice for this after.
No, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
no,
Oh,
I'm
listen.
willing to play the
Yeah.
game. I'm willing to play the game.
Okay, so the question is that Adrian, so there's a part of you that says, okay, I'm going to set the alarm. You know
Mhm.
what she looks like, right? She's at nighttime, she's setting the alarm. What
Mhm.
else? Like, what does she look like?
Oh, the Adrian that set the alarm that's going to the gym early, maybe she's like wrote down her to-do list for the next
Mm,
day. She's maybe even set out her gym outfit because she's excited
yeah.
about it.
Yep.
Um, she's thinking about what she's gonna have for breakfast after she gets
Okay.
back from the gym. Like she wants to be
Yeah.
organized and have like the best day ever.
Perfect. And what does she look like? Does she look like kind of like a version of you or you now? Or like, what does she look like and sound like to you?
Okay, the Adrian that would wake up. Okay, let's really get into this. Okay.
Yeah.
The Adrian that would really get into this is she would like wake up early, drink a lemon water, get a cute, it doesn't have to be Lululemon, but she'd have a cute little matching set on and like put her shoes on. She'd go to like she would go to a gym or a class that felt like that aligned, like a Pilates class or like a Moody cycle class. Like she wants the vibe. She
Got
would
it.
like come home, even avocado toast, or go to Lucy's in McCormick Ranch and like get her little eggs Benedict or whatever, and like slowly start her day. But she'd be done with all of that by like 8:30 and like a
Yep.
time to turn on Live with Kelly and Mark.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
what she
So
does.
she's got this like very, you know her. You are very
I
familiar with her.
I want to be her.
You want to be here. Well, it sounds like she's is a part of you because it's like you wouldn't even have set the alarm. You wouldn't have gone through. And but yet the one you seem more identified with is the other part of you, which is the Adrian. That what does she look like? Tell me. And
Ugh,
what I'm looking for is like, does she look like you exactly? Is she like bigger, smaller, darker? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, is she
yeah,
like on your shoulder when she shows up? Is she like, you know, a voice in your head? Does she look like something totally different?
that the one that shuts off the alarm in the
The one
morning.
that
That's
shuts off
like,
the alarm. Yeah.
yeah, she's obviously not in a great place because she's
Okay.
like, who the fuck set the alarm? Like, that's like literally the thing that I say. I'm like, why did I do that? Like, I
Yeah.
question myself when it goes off. From the first thing that I do in the morning is I'm questioning it.
Right.
So I do think she's darker in the sense of, I don't want to say grumpy,
Yeah.
but she's not relaxed, but like lethargic, right? Like she's
Okay.
sleepy.
Less
She's
energy.
bloated from her meat and cheese charcuterie board she made the last night. And like the thought of going to a workout class does not sound
Right.
fun.
Right.
I don't feel like she's the person that didn't pick out the outfit. And she's like,
Right.
I don't even know where my clothes are at. Like, I don't know where my shoes are. Like she's discombobulated. Like that's who I feel like that person is.
Okay. And so the question
Sloppy.
sloppy. Yeah. So you've got Bodden Adrian and her cute Lulus, and you've got sloppy Adrian, and right. And
Mhm.
there's parts of you, right? Like you've seen versions of both,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
And so, yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna
No, I was
say?
just gonna say I've seen versions of both of this girl, and like whether it's now it's interesting because like I'm in my mid 30s, and so it's like I've seen versions of that when she was 21 or 25 or 30. And now when I see versions of that sloppy stuff, I'm like, is this who I am? Like
Right.
I didn't want to grow up to be this girl.
And I can totally relate. I'm going to be fully transparent. I'm walking you through this. This is yours. But in my own way, there were versions of me that I was going, wait a minute, you're running this business. How are you expecting to get here? Or you wanted to be of this place and you're going to be this age. Like, is that what you want for yourself? You know, it was very much identifying with the other part of me more than
Mhm,
I was the one I wanted to step into and
mhm,
be. So I
mhm,
think we all have those realizations, no matter how far along you get. You're like, is this who I am? Am I identifying? And the question to ask is, what's the intention of the one that you don't want? Like, for example, the one that you want, her intention, the one you want to step into, and this is who I want to be. What is her intention? Would you say? Like she
mhm.
shows up for what reason? Like what's her ultimate intention for you?
For herself.
For herself? Yes, very well said. Okay.
Yeah, like she is taking care of herself. Like,
Yeah. So you know that she's there to kind of keep you
mhm,
feeling energized, feeling good, healthy, showing up, presenting yourself, feeling good, right? She's there to
mhm.
take care of herself. And what is the intention of the other one? Picture her now, have that conversation with her and say, what is your intention? Sometimes I talk to
Okay.
her. Do it.
Here is probably the best example I can get. It just came to me. Did you ever have one of those girls in high school or college who was like, kind of wanted to make everybody else around them feel miserable? Like, oh, I'm fat. And you're like, you're not fat. Like, if
Yeah.
you're fat, I'm like, what do you
Yeah.
think of me when you look at me?
Yeah.
And, or someone who kind of like, if you've ever had a friend who's like they're having a bad day or they're going through a breakup and they've got to not ruin everyone else's time, but they've got to like bring it up. I feel like that Adrian, she like kind of wants to self-sabotage and be the victim a little bit. And I'm not like associating that with my grief journey at all, but I feel like she's kind of like, well, you've been through a lot, so you
Right.
get to it, you
Separate.
don't get to it. But like, who do you think you are though? Like, you
And
haven't,
go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, like, who do you think you are? Like, you haven't been to Lululemon in a few months. Like, you don't have a cute outfit to wear to the gym. Like, she's like, you have nothing to wear. You have
Yeah.
nothing.
So it's like she's kind of like negative Nancy or negative Adrian. Like, what would
Yeah.
you call her? Like, give her a name.
Regina George.
Regina, she's Regina. Totally. So we're gonna give her bars and make her uncomfortable. No, I'm just kidding. What do they call it? Like,
Oh yeah, like her own like little yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes. On Tuesday, what is it? Fridays.
On, yeah, on Wednesdays we wear pink.
or fake or whatever. Yeah. So it's like you've got this picture of her and she's like, I'm miserable, you're gonna be miserable. And it's separate. It's interesting. You can separate that and know it's not your grief journey, the one where you need that time and you need to live. She's separate. She's just there
Mhm.
to kind of make it miserable. And what is her intention? Yes, she's making it miserable, but why do you think she shows up?
Because she's keeping me safe. Because, right? Like she is like, yeah, I guess that's the only explanation I have. But what is it?
You nailed it. You literally did it faster than most people. They have the same intention, don't they?
Right, right.
Have the same intention. And it feels like this tug of war, but they're both there to keep you safe. And
Mhm.
so going to the one you do not want, and I would have a conversation with her and ask her, and I don't necessarily we can do it if you want to do it on here, but I don't know how much you want to say, but it's you've already gone this far. It's
Right,
like
we're already in it.
but having that conversation with her and just saying why did you show up, when did you show up, and what's
Mhm.
your intention for showing up? You're to keep me safe. And if you want, you can have the choice to integrate her in and say, do you
Mhm.
want to come work with us, because we got this other one? Do you want to, you're there to keep me safe, but do you see that we both have the same intention and you are not serving me anymore? You're
Mhm.
no whatever you showed up for at any time in my life to come in, you're not doing it anymore. It's actually hurting me. I really want these things for myself. So you kind of have that combo, and then you have the two resolve, and you either bring her with you or you cut her off and she's out in the distance and you send her on her way and you cut the energetic tie and all of that, and then you're done with her. Yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking about that in the sense of like, okay, it's time for her to go. And from your client's experience, do you think that we don't want to let that person go because we've been them for so long and that's comfortable? Or why is it so hard to get rid of that version of ourselves that we don't really want to be? Like I can sit here and say, I don't want to be that person and this is the type of person that they are, but then why is it so freaking hard to get rid of them?
Well, you have beautiful long hair, and I just cut my hair, and I'm like, oh my gosh, her hair is so
Wait, do I have
beautiful.
to cut my hair?
No, no, what I'm saying, it is so pretty, and I loved it, and it was so a part of my identity when I wore it, and I was like, even if I didn't have makeup on, I had the hair and this and that, and it became a part of me. And I desperately hated how much time I sweat so much, so much. And I would have to like literally blow dry it every single day after I worked out. And like there was so much maintenance to it. I would go to the blowout bar like every now and then, and like cost and maintenance. And I was just like, I'm not got into this, but it felt like part of my identity. So to cut it off was challenging. And now I'm more bought in. I'm like, I get ready faster. I do this. Do I look at you and go, oh, I sometimes miss the hair and that was part of me? It is a part of you. That's why it's
Mhm.
hard to get rid of. It's a
Mhm.
part of you, it's a part of your identity, and you have identified with that for quite some time. So depending on when you picked it up,
Mhm.
right, at whatever point in time, which if we walk you through the rest of it, which we should, I don't know if you want to do it now or you want to wait and leave them wanting more, but after
Yeah.
we're done, I'll make sure to close that loop for you so you can
Okay.
get rid of it. So you
Okay.
won't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Don't leave me here with this
Yeah,
girl.
yeah. But the important part for you to see is that they have the same intention and she's there for a reason. So if
Right.
to let her go, it's not hard to let them go. It's hard to change is not hard. It is the build up to deciding to change that is hard. So if
Oof.
in an instant someone says, I'm no longer going to drink alcohol, in an instant, I'm going to be someone who wakes up. You've seen people do that. They just go, yeah, I'm going to change. I'm going to
Mhm.
do it. I've done it. It's that build up to letting it go is
Mhm.
and identifying with that that can take us some time. Sometimes you need her for a reason. She also could be serving you in some ways. Like, what do
Yeah.
you get out of it when she shows up? You get to rest. You get to what? Like, stay safe. You don't have to feel as good. You don't have to go be friendly to those people. So there's something you're always getting out of it at the
Mhm.
same. Does
Mhm.
that make sense? Like,
A hundred
never like
percent.
just hurting you. You're kind of buying in. And when I say you, I mean the proverbial me too.
Mhm.
We are often buying into what else am I getting out of this? Even though it doesn't seem like it,
Right.
I'm something. So
Oh my God, this is so good. Okay, my mind's like blown right now. Okay, here's my next question. So you go on this journey, this professional journey, and as it sounds like as you've gone along, you've been collecting these, I don't want to call them just certifications, but
Yep.
like you've been
They are.
collecting these different career paths and certifications and tools to put in your
Yeah.
toolbox as far as like, I mean, give us like, can you give us
Yeah.
like the laundry list of everything that you're like who you are?
So yeah, so I'll go in order of how I got them,
Yeah.
and was like started as like Schwinn certification for spin teaching, body pump for gym era, holistic health coach for nutrition and balancing and that sort of thing. Now I'm certified personal trainer, so that was for obviously for personal training and whatnot. Um, Golly, besides that, moving into more the mindset, behavior change specialist. So focusing, so the path, if you're listening to it, is health and fitness interest. I want people to change. The next one was more mental and emotional release, right? So that's there, and hypnosis. Those were coinciding. And I'm trying to think if there's, I'm like looking at I'm like master practitioner of neuro linguistic programming. So obviously, yeah, master practitioner of neuro linguistic programming, and then hypnosis. And I think for now, the one thing I'm considering is there's a few more, and I'll tell you about it. Mainly one that I'm thinking about, but I'm not going there yet. And the reason is I don't need it to be successful. I don't need it to help my clients more. It would literally be just a stamp on my name that
Mhm.
if I let go of that belief, which I am in the midst of now, then I won't probably need the 2 years and the stamp and the thing for the masters or for whatever the thing is. So it's like you don't at the end of the day it was a vanity metric. I think I do
Mhm.
believe that I learned something from it, but I talked to someone today who went through a similar program, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I need it to help people.
Right, right. Okay, at what point in these certifications and in your just career did you decide I need to have a digital side of my business? Because I am fascinated with that. I think too, like because of COVID, that just got amplified even more. And now it does feel like it's a little bit of like everyone has a course or everyone's doing something online. I'd love to know like where did you decide I'm gonna go into like a more of a digital realm too?
It was decided for me to start. Like my clients wanted to meet online. And then I think, God, I'm thinking of years. Like it's so funny. People say years on podcasts and things, and I'm like, I don't care. I actually don't care. So the point is a couple years into my business, I knew being online was important. And I started more with Facebook. So at
Mhm.
the time, my target demographic, 40-year-old women, always women. I've always worked with women. Anytime I brought on men, this will be an interesting topic for you to come back to. Um, I had some blocks around working with men, and I released those. Actually, it was only in the last like year that I did this, but I majorly had blocks. So I always worked with women. There was some baggage there where I was like, I don't want men. They're going to hit on me, this and that. After releasing that, now I love my male clients. They're amazing. I've worked with them. I've had some in the past too, but very selective. Now it's both. It's
Mhm.
more about the part of the journey they're in. So usually around 40 years old, usually entrepreneurs, very successful people, creating and having amazing things in their life, but feeling unfulfilled. I think I said that. Struggling with either their weight. Usually it's the women on that side, I
Mhm.
find. Men are more struggling with the purpose and the relationship, and women are the weight in the relationship. So the way I got all those credentials was I'm a personal trainer. I want to help them. Okay, well, it's not the physical, it must be the food. It's not working out, it must be food. Okay, it's not all that. There's got to be something in behavior.
Mhm.
Well, it's not all behavior, it's mindset. So let me go learn neurolinguistic programming, which is like rewiring of the brain. And then it was on an unconscious level, I realized so much of it is coming from the unconscious. So that's why I went into more hypnosis. And then mental and emotional release is the actual clinical practice that we do to like remove it. And then the programs I've created on my own stemmed from working with clients. People are like, well, I don't know what to create. It's like, what was the last thing you helped someone with? For me, the main program I always had was called the Calm Hustle. It's a value driven goal setting program.
Mhm.
And I started that because, again, people were looking at like this fantasy goal. I want to lose 50 pounds, never, I want to have six pack abs. I want to do this. I want to look like a fitness model. I was my first client, by the way. I want to be this. I should look like this. I'm supposed to be this way. Well, I keep doing it. I'm 10 pounds away from that and I fail every time. I keep coming back, right? And the part of that is I wasn't bought into the goal. I was not bought in at that age or at that time in my life to not ever have carbs, or only eat specific ones, never have a glass of wine, or once a week. Like I just wanted to enjoy with so it was like all these things where I looked phenomenal, but I didn't think it was good enough because I wasn't at that goal, which was a fantasy goal, So
Yeah.
I sit on that program going, what's my highest and best? What am I bought into? If that's at this weight, with this body fat percentage, with the capacity to do this, and with balance to enjoy time with friends and eat food and not worry, then good for me. And stop making yourself wrong for not being this fitness model that you actually don't want to be.
Right.
No interest in that. And I didn't need it to serve my clients. They did not ask, well, do you have 6-pack abs? They said, oh, you look relatively fit and healthy and you have balance. That's what I want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
was I chasing that when I didn't want it myself. It was just
Right.
wanting that for me, right? A
Right.
boyfriend look that way. The industry thinking I should look that way. So many things. It wasn't my goal. So that program became digital, right? I've got that. And it became more by working with one-on-one clients. The boundary boot camp, all around boundaries. I was trying to run the other program and I couldn't get people to show up for the damn thing. They were there. I had like a group program and like half of them would be like, oh, I just have to do this thing real quick, and like would run away. I'm like, we're talking like 45 minutes or an hour for you to sit here and you can't like dedicate this to yourself. So I said, that's it. I'm pivoting. We're going to hold like a master class on boundaries. So
Oh,
it was to teach them the next step to show up for yourself.
right.
The online course came. My old business partner, Shauna Ferrigno, who is, you probably know Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk. He's like the big bodybuilder guy. Yeah, the original Hulk.
Yeah.
But so either way, they were working together and she and I ended up doing this course. And then there's an author in there too, who wrote Defining Your Boundaries, Jen Sugarmar. She's pretty cool too. So we've got a handful of women that came on and did this little master class. And that's how we got that one. And I record the second time, and you can relate with this, I'm sure. I burnt out. I was like exhausted. I was like, I can't run this again. I'm so tired. So I took a copy of the recordings and I chopped them up and I turned it into the online course. And then since then, I've gone back and recorded a bunch, and we're still adding more. That course we just keep putting more into
Right.
as all courses. But that's how I landed on that course, and that became digital because you burn out. You hit a point where you can't do it. And let me say it this way. Other people have been smarter and learned faster or took better. I had plenty of consultants or mentors that I paid. And sometimes I just had to learn it. Like, for example, I'm sure
Yeah.
somebody told me that 3 years prior that I paid a lot of money to, but I didn't do it. I hit a point where I said, I'm either going to have to stop doing this or cap myself, or I can figure out, let's just do it and record it. And chop it up and make it an online course type thing. So now anyone can go do it. We still may run that as a group program, but that took away some of the work of me explaining it. And so that's how the app came about.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. Okay, like where did this come into play?
Same thing. I got, to be completely honest, I got so sick of spending thousands of dollars on like really good programs, by the way, some of these people, coaches and stuff. And I was like watching YouTube and it's like interrupting with a thing. And I'm like, why do I have to? So I paid for a subscription, but it would lose my spot. And then Kajabi, I had to download that app and do it. And I was like, nah, I don't want, when people come, and I'm not saying it is perfect. Hear me out. If you're hearing this podcast when this launches, it is in the beginning stages of what we are doing, and it's only going to get better, but you have to start somewhere. And if I was my old self, so if this gives you any indications to your two parts, I would never have talked about it. No one would ever use it right now, but I started using it myself. I started using the recordings, the audio. I was even watching some of the courses. I started building it and I was like, I find value in this. Why am I not going to just put it out to people? If it gets better, it gets better as it gets better, which it is. But that's how it got there, is I didn't want to be in these other spaces, I wanted them to go in and have a place in the community and a place where they could just open their phone, listen to an audio or jump over to the course they bought, or, be in the community or whatever it is. That's why I built the app. So it all progressed. And this is over, keep in mind, 12, 15 years. Like, again, like this isn't overnight. So if someone's listening going, well, shit, I couldn't even fathom doing it. Yeah, you can do the first thing first. Just do the first thing first and then hold space for the bigger vision, and you'll do it. And then get some good accountability and someone who's done it, or someone you feel, you can trust to get you there, and you'll do it. But you don't have to. My journey, if I listened to this, early on in my journey, I would have said, no way, that's not me. If you
Mhm.
played this recording for me
That
5
ain't
years ago,
me.
10 years ago, I would have been like, maybe I can feel it. I desire that. I want it, but I don't identify as that.
Mm.
So, you
No,
know,
that makes total sense. And I think too, yeah, 12 years ago, there's no way that I'm sure you would have thought, oh, I'll have an app and I'll be, having downloadable, like that wasn't even a thing then. So I think that's such a testament to just like taking the action, staying consistent, and like you will find where you're supposed to go by doing.
yeah.
If you had to give anyone that's thinking about kind of growing their digital side of their business this year, whether it's a product or a course or, optimizing their website to like be more interactive. Is there any advice that you have or kind of self checks to do as you're going through that process to make it a little easier?
What your audience will think I'm going to say, and what you might be looking for is like a practical, tangible tool. And I have that, but it's not a checklist. It's not like, oh, these are the things. Two things I would say. Number one, remove the blocks that are causing you to stop taking action, procrastinate, not
Oh,
believe in
yeah.
yourself, not show up fully. Like I thought I showed up fully, and I go through my own programs just to have integrity and make sure they work and I'm doing them and I show up my best. And I just went through another, what I call the breakthrough program, the area of career, right?
Mm-hmm.
I found out within that, I'm like, why am I not showing up as much on Instagram? Why am I like wanting to hide a little bit and do it? Part of that is just a very long road of, this, I heard it in one of your other episodes, like it's changed and it is hard. And that's part of your motivation for the podcast and
Mm-hmm.
other avenues, when we don't want to share every aspect of our lives or gosh, compete with these people that are right. There's that.
Mm-hmm.
Then, and that's really practical and that makes sense. And there's the limiting beliefs. There's the voice inside of you that goes, my voice doesn't matter. Why would I do this if two people are going to like it when I've worked this harder? Why would I, any of that, the fear, all the negative emotions, all the things that come up is more at play. It's running 95% of my behavior. It was, and yours and else's. Why would we not address that? Right? You look at the 5% and you go spend $5,000 on the program that's going to give you the checklist, but you can't even get yourself to the checklist.
Yeah.
So why not spend like a third of that to go get rid of the limiting beliefs that's running 95% of your behavior? So
Right.
to me is the key. I will never not share that because it is why I am successful. It is what brought me here, and it is what continues to bring me here.
Mm.
Like I'm going to hit a new level next year. Check back in, hold me accountable. Next year at this time, I have the goals written. But I removed the baggage that was stopping me from believing I could hit that.
Right.
Right. I moved the things that were holding me back. So, and the way you do that, if you're tangibly looking for it, it literally is a process where we go through timeline therapy, or we get to the root cause of like, why are you having this? It's
Mm-hmm.
probably not what you think. You think it's because you had a poor launch a year ago, or someone was mean to you when you were 15. It's probably earlier in life or something you don't even know. It could be
Wow.
generational trauma from women thinking you're not supposed to have a business without a man. You can't make money without a man. That could be your belief of what's holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, deep rooted. So
Wow.
in that piece, so look into it. And it doesn't even have to be with me. Like other people do similar work uprooting. I just think we've put so much time and effort into it with my team, and we've done hundreds and hundreds of these, that it is better. And we have the app. We have so many things that go with it, but it does not have to be us. Like find someone that you can uproot the
Mhm.
unconscious beliefs, and get that taken care of. That is my best advice for that. Go ahead, you're
Mhm.
gonna.
No, I was just gonna say, speaking of team, what does a team of yours look like to like make this whole business? And I'm sure it's changed over the years, but right now, with all of you have going on, what does Emily's team look like?
It is changed. So what I mean by that is scaled. So the sloppy journey is started all on my own. Never even fathomed a belief I had. Well, I can't have a team. If I have a team, then so many things would come up. I will say some of the beliefs I had. They would steal from me. They would take my programs. They would not show up. They can't do the job as good as I can. I'm a perfectionist. It has to be me. I'm the reason they signed up. Whatever. So many things. I'll just like give you my bag of like laundry, dirty laundry. And I can say them because they're not there anymore. I don't have that.
Mhm.
But the team has formed. So in the last just like a little while, we have a number of practitioners. So people that if you come in, it's not that you necessarily work with me, and you don't have to. I make sure they are amazing. I'm finding these people, they are certified in the process. They are amazing. Some psychologists, some, just certified in this area, but have these other expertise. So we place you with like the person who I think will be the best fit for you for what you're looking to do,
Mhm.
whether that's weight loss, career goals, or relationship goals. So it's the kind of all of those. There's that team. I had a VA. I'm looking right now. We just talked about this. I need to rehire that new team now. Social media management who has a team themselves. That was really the value in that for me is not the copywriting. I write my copy, it's my voice and whatnot. It's more the execution. If you,
Logistics of it.
yeah, like I'm at a point where I cannot spend that amount of time. So I'll film it, I'll write it, I'll do it. I'm very heavily in it to the point where we had a combo like yesterday where they were like, you can lean back a little. I'm like, okay, I
Perfect.
will. Great, I will. Luckily, I just got rid of that belief that I have to hold on to it. So
Right.
there's that, and then I have a handful of trainers too. So it's more on the front end and the back end. If you're doing, we won't. I likely will. I will refer you out to someone, and you can go to somebody else. But if you're going to work with us, I will always start with the mindset piece and say we don't want to. I hate saying it. I don't want to say it this way and then be quoted on it, but I'll say it because shit. We don't want to work with you if you don't go through the first program of removing your baggage, because I'm spending 100% of my time talking to someone
Right.
who's like, I don't think I can get up. I'm like, no, you can get up. We're going to get you up. Let's get rid of that piece that's believing that you can't.
Right.
Right. And then you suddenly are just like motivated almost on your own. And we're there to hold you accountable, give you more of the tools, and continue to remove the things that aren't you. That piece is so important.
Right.
So most people are starting at the front end there. And then on the end, if it's in the area of weight loss, we have trainers that can hold you accountable. The practical things matter. I've in the app, with just the monthly app, there's fitness, anywhere from at-home workouts, what else? The 20-minute workouts, gym workouts. There's even a gym basics program in there for a lot of clients early on were very uncomfortable going to the gym. So we
Mhm.
kind of in there with one of my trainers, hey, here's a gym basics program. Here's the basics you need to know about the gym, what to do, even etiquette, things like that. And here's now a 12-week program you can follow if you want to. So it's all in there. So, and that's like included for now. I don't know. We'll see how we rearrange things, but that to me, the value is there for that. So that's a big team. And then the VAs, but I did not have anyone for years and years and years. I want this to be said because it is so important. That is today. And even now I've like shifted some of those people because I've outgrown and said, okay, we need this person. I can't be taking so much on. I need you to own this piece.
Mhm.
And at the same time, for God, I don't know, 10 years, I didn't have people. I would outsource to contractors for things like maybe some help with a website thing or something. But I really was the person. I read a quote today. They said, all the rich people I know trade their pay money to get back their time. And all the poor people I know are spending their time to make more money. Okay,
Yeah.
is true. And I thought to myself, but where was I when I started? I needed to put the time in. I
Mhm.
did not. that to invest, I had to learn the back end of the email marketing or the landing page or the, you said in your podcast, you got the thing and then you went to YouTube and you learned it.
Mhm.
There's the part where I do think there's a disconnect of people starting now. And I've seen it with some clients where too, it's like you want to just jump and do it. And it's like, yeah, that's nice. But if you don't want to get your hands dirty, like don't go in the ocean if you don't want to get wet.
Yeah, yeah,
Happen. You got to get a little dirty, you know? So I think that be smart and jump, but stop comparing to my story, not you, but just me. I'm talking to my old self who might be listening to this. Stop comparing to my story where I'm at. It doesn't mean yours looks like that. You could go hire a VA tomorrow. A
Mhm.
lot of successful people say to do that. And you know that to be true for a minimal amount to just outsource. That could be a great place to start.
Mhm.
You don't need, and you can partner with people. You can do affiliate with people. You can
Yeah,
have contractors. It doesn't mean that's forever. You can start where you need to start, but do it on your own. Learn
yeah.
a little bit. So you
Well,
have appreciation for the people when they do it. I'm like, thank you. I know that's a pain in the ass. I know it's your wheelhouse, but thank you because I really hate doing that.
right,
So
right. Oh my God, I love that. You are like a treasure chest of information. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna add all of your information in the show notes, but also I'm like, I've looked at all your stuff and now it's like I have such a more deeper meaning to everything that you do. This is so incredible. We could literally talk forever, but I know that we're
oh
gonna be
yeah,
running short. Yeah, yeah. We're like, we've been chatting. I'm like, I looked at the clock earlier. I'm like, holy shit. Okay. One, where can everybody find you at? I'll link everything in the show notes, and we'll have all the information in there, but tell us where they can find you.
yeah. So I guess Instagram, I am Emily Sullivan. So literally I am Emily Sullivan is the full name. And then I'm trying to think of where, also aligned mind coach. So here's a good thing. I'll spit it out. And I am Emily Sullivan on Instagram. Alignedmindcoach.com is probably the best place. And I do have two websites. So these are things I want to be frank about this. Right now, I'm like, oh, I should probably have cleaned all of this up. I still have IamEmilySullivan.com. That exists because I do speaking, I do all these other things as separate. I have Aligned Mind Coach, Instagram. The same is true for like TikTok, right? You can find that on TikTok. You can go on Facebook and find Emily Sullivan. So it's like it's all over. But if you want, I would just stick with I am Emily Sullivan Instagram and then alignmindcoach.com are good places. And you can download the app too. You can
Yes.
download
And that link is in your bio, right?
the link. Yeah, I'll give
Yep.
you everything. I'll make it.
Cool. Yes. We'll put the app link in there for sure. That's so cool. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Okay. I'm gonna stop the recording here in just a little bit and I'll keep you on, but thank you so much for
Yes.
being
Thank
here. And I hope everyone goes and follows you and they become as obsessed with you as I am. So,
Oh, it's all for them to become obsessed with themselves. It's not even, it's like, I am just, if there's anything you heard there, it's not like I'm so great. It's possible for me too. And you can do it yourself. So become obsessed with yourself. Just if I help you in any way get there, great. I'm happy.
oh, that's the perfect place to end on. Become obsessed with yourself. I love that.